The waiver wire is trash as we head into week 5. We have a dichotomy between two running backs, Jaleel McLaughlin and Keaton Mitchell. Whether or not you want to stash either one of those other two running backs or go after somebody else, but we do not have many upside flyers or guys who have been hitting recently as the waiver wire has been picked apart every single week. So we got a wide receiver we're going to look at today who might be stumbling into an opportunity to allow him to produce in your lineups, maybe be a patchwork job for you to get you through the bye weeks or whatever's going on with your team. But Tyler Boyd might be getting some opportunity here soon due to an injury to T. Higgins, and that could be huge to somebody who really needs a wide receiver, since the wide receiver position is not looking great off the waiver wire. We're going to go over the news, the facts, the data, the stats, the advanced metrics, everything else to help you make your decision. But what you really need to do is click that subscribe button. Stop missing out on those deep dives on the waiver wire. We're helping you set those lineups. We're helping you make those trades with these videos and everything else. Hit that button. Stop missing out. Let's take a look at Tyler Boyd. T. Higgins has a rib injury. Looks like he's got some broken ribs here. And he did not practice today and is on the mend. And it's up in the air whether he's going to be back or not. Looks like he's going to try and play through it. But that's hearsay. If that may not happen, it may happen. And if he does, what kind of effect he's going to have on the field? Is he going to play a full game? Is he going to get a full workload? Is it just going to be partial? Is he going to be a decoy? We don't know. We don't know. It's up in the air. It's a wild card. It's a mystery box. But that's the news that we're working off in that information. Looking at Tyler Boyd, has not been very productive this year. Had 11.2 fantasy points against Baltimore. Outside of that, it's been slow. The Bengals have not been the Bengals or who we thought they were going to be this season. Have not been too explosive. Tyler Boyd can get some opportunities. We've seen that throughout his career. Right now, it has not reared his head, though. Looking at the season, though, he's had 6.8 targets per game and an 18.9% target share. That alone makes him rosterable. That gives him opportunity. Any single game, he could pop off. If it's a plus matchup and you're hurting at wide receiver, 6 to 7 targets a game is something you're going to be interested in, especially if Joe Burrow starts getting healthier, maybe after the bye week. Maybe that could be something. That alone by itself, you should be interested in. However, the air yards are low. He's getting short targets. That is a big reason why he's not splashing on you left and right here. With that decent workload, he's running almost 40 routes a game, which is very solid, and on 92% of the routes ran. That's a good thing to see. So he is getting opportunity even with T. Higgins on the field. So that's something to note. It's just not dialing up in production right now. But he is running routes. He's seeing some targets. He's getting some opportunities. We see this year in and year out. He's not a heavy hitter when it comes to production, but he is a guy that will step in from a game here and a game there standpoint and give you a few splash weeks, as we see here with the green candlesticks identifying those wide receiver 1 weeks throughout the last 3 seasons. He can also give you some double-digit PPR fantasy performances. That is not outside the line of possibilities with him. Again, he's a good wide receiver. He was a very good prospect coming out of Pitt. He was very productive there. And now he's got Chase and Higgins, who are dominant wide receivers, 2 alphas to contend with Higgins possibly being out. There could be more opportunities for him. He's also averaging 11.4 PPR points per game over the last few seasons. That's decent production. If that's on the waiver wire, you may want to take a stab anyways. I'm not going to say he's going to go off or anything or get a tremendous amount of production, but that's something you may want to pay attention to if you're hurting a wide receiver, considering the waiver wire has been trash. Looking at splits with T. Higgins out of the lineup here, and it's just 3 games, but the production does ramp up a little bit as we're going from 11 points per game to 14 almost. We're going from 4.25 catches a game to 5.67. We're getting more opportunity. We're getting more yards, probably deeper targets downfield. Just a little bit of more, which allows him to be more productive, allows you to see more of those green candlesticks, allows you to see more of those wide receiver 2 weeks as we saw in that previous chart. That's a thing you want to look at. Another thing on the downside, just a 3-game sample. So that does not mean that T. Higgins is out, Tyler Boyd goes off. That does not mean that. That means that he just gets more opportunity. There's a better chance for that, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. Looking at the Bengals offense here, they're averaging 61 plays per game, 42 pass attempts a game, ranked 6th in the NFL. Joe Burrow averages 37.8 pass attempts per game, 230 air yards per game. He's not really pushing it downfield as deep, but 71.6% of his balls are catchable. So we are seeing acuity of targets going around in this offense, catchable targets. 18% of the targets are going to the void. We might see a little bit of increase here in the near future. And also the offensive line here, when we look at pass blocking, hasn't been too great the last few weeks. It's been up and down here this season. It has not been the greatest year for the Cincinnati Bengals. As you look at everything from a macro perspective, looking at the schedule rolling forward, we do have the Niners, we do have the Cardinals, we do have some splash matchups though. We got Seattle. I imagine after the bye week, Higgins is going to be really good to go. That Seattle matchup, if you really need something in week 6, that might be a Boyd game. That might be. But I remember that Giants game and how the Seattle Seahawks really tricked us over. So don't really go all in. But if you really need it, that might be your opportunity. Arizona's kind of sneaky though. And then you got Buffalo. You got some matchups that could go boom on you and some nasty ones as well. The Bengals' schedule for fantasy isn't the greatest, but there is some opportunity. But when we look at Tyler Boyd, I don't think you absolutely need him, but you do need him if you're hurting and you don't like anything else that's on waivers. That makes sense. If you need a spackle job for your drywall, then I understand. But absolutely, you do not need him unless you absolutely have a hole to fill and you're just hoping for some targets. He's not a league winner. He's a guy that could get you double-digit fantasy points on any given week. You just don't know when. And when we're saying double-digit fantasy points, it's usually 10 to 15. Usually does not hit a true upside play. You don't need him because you're not getting upside. You do not need a spackle job wide receiver. You just want to stash upside plays. You want to stash running backs. And that's okay because Tyler Boyd's not for everybody. Right now, the waiver wire is dank. There's not many upside plays or grandiose players that we're really clamoring for. We're just hoping for the best on a few players. We're trying to pick up some players who can help us out for the short term. And we're just praying that they get some targets, get some touches, cross the goal line, and everything else. So really, players like this, you're just picking them up. Maybe you're throwing them in your lineup. And you're hoping for the best, and that's it. That's the best we can really tell you at this point because we're not looking at him as an upside play. We're not looking at him as a play that could win your league. But if you're hurting, we understand. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Catch you on the next video.